to the channel again. It is, I don't even know what day it is, 29th. It's that day sort of in between Christmas and New Year when nobody really knows what day it is, what time of year it is, what decade it is. You just have chocolate and beer for breakfast. Speaking of beer, I've got a Brewgooder Fonio. Never heard of it. There's 4.3%. Let's give that a whirl. Gratuitous beer drinking noises. It's not bad actually. Anyway, enough of that. Airfix's Elvis Stalwart 135 scale. I pre-ordered it from Jadlam. It took forever to arrive. Not their fault. It's just raw mail being dicks. Wanted to build a Stalwart for years. The only available options really were, I think Kitform Services did one, Accurate Army did one, but they were stupidly expensive and resin and conversions, and I can't be arsed with resin these days. Too old for that shit. So, luckily Airfix do one. Nice box art on it. Years ago Airfix used to have lovely painted box art, but now these are sort of computer generated. And I did notice, I'll get my pen of justice, it definitely wasn't stolen from my father, but anyway. There's a little bit down there that doesn't make sense. So you've got Stalwart driving along and you've got like a mountain of rubble and crap behind it, and then there's a little bit of water down there where you can see through the pile of crap. Yeah. Made by a company called Elvis. They don't exist anymore. I think they got bought out and they ended up being part of BAE and just disappeared into oblivion. It's from a family of vehicles, the Elvis Stalwart being the most popular that people recognise. Then you had Saladin, I'll put pictures of these, Saladin, Saracen and Salamander. So you had a 76mm fire support version, armoured personnel carrier version, which was rushed into service. It was an urgent operational requirement for the war in Malaya. So they rushed that one through first. And then there was the Salamander, which was a airport fire tender sort of version. See what versions we've got. So we've got a 1969 version, 1981, 1980 version. Its primary role was to follow the artillery round. It's an amphibious vehicle, six wheel drive, so all wheels have drive. Amphibious, so it would drive up to a river, dive straight in, and it would swim to the side. It had water jet propulsion, so water get pulled in, chucked out the back quite quickly. It's a bit like going across the river in a bathtub hoping it doesn't sink. It's got rubber gaskets so that all the stuff in the back doesn't get wet, hopefully. And yeah, they were, from what I hear, they were quite good fun to drive, but they suffered with something called wind-up. So each of these turns at the same time. If I've got this right, from the way I understand it, they all turn at the same speed. If you turn left or right, obviously the wheels on one side are going to turn faster than the other. You used to get something called wind-up, where in order to unwind the differentials, you had to drive over railway sleepers and stuff to lift a wheel up off the ground so that it would spin, and I don't know. It's beyond my comprehension. I'm only a lorry driver, but yeah. So they were built to follow the artillery, because the plan was that if the Cold War ever got a bit, a bit shouted, a bit shooty, the Soviets, because you're not allowed to blame just the Russians, would blow all the bridges up, so there'd be no bridges. So this was supposed to follow the artillery, because back in the 60s and the 70s, everything, majority of stuff that the British Army had, like 432s or Abbotts, that kind of thing, were all amphibious, so they could float, hopefully. Let's have a look at the instructions. Ooh. Nice clear decal sheet, which makes a nice change, because some Airfix sheets have been a bit crap. Now, I only know because I've seen different reviews of this online, where some of the instructions aren't quite right, and there are a couple of niggles, such as, I think it's something to do with the roof. I think the searchlight's in the wrong place, or the trim vane on the front's wrong. But if it sits in my cabinet and look, it's got the basic outline of a Stalwart, I don't really care. Stalwart, Stally. whatever. This is the Mark II version, so a Mark I Stolly. These windows aren't, you see how they curve down at the bottom? They're not like that. Because apparently when you were driving along, you couldn't see people stood at the side of the road very well, so you used to get flattened, so they changed the design of these windows to make it a bit better for them to see. Interestingly, they were petrol powered. Or the early ones were petrol powered. I don't know if they were. I know there was a company in Retford that would convert them to diesel for you. Whether they're all converted to diesel in the end, I don't know. I'll do what politicians do. I'll go and Google it and get back to you. I like that. Fit in correct place. I'm not going to put it in the wrong place, am I? Different radio options. I'm not a scaly back, so I'm guessing one is Klansman and Larkspur, maybe? Larkspur radios. I know it wasn't Bowman, because that was much later. Bowman stands for Better Off with Map and Nokia. I always tend to build vehicles with the hatches closed. I don't know why, because this has got quite a nice interior to it. So I might build them with the hatches open so you can actually see what's inside there. But I've always done stuff with hatches shut because they always drop off. Cat stands on them. The missus does the hoovering and dusting and snaps them off. Moral of the story there is do my own hoovering and dusting. But that's not happening, is it? Speaking of Christmas, that's what the missus bought me because I am the most forgetful man on the planet. Let's have a look at some sprues, what we've got. Moulded in a nice, crisp, clean green plastic for a change. Airfix used to do stuff in this very light grey, almost blue, sort of like this sort of colour, but a little bit greyer sort of colour plastic. It was very, very soft, which was a nightmare. It was a bit of a swine to work with. I do apologise, there's nothing worse than hearing somebody coughing a lump on YouTube, is there? But I am a bit disappointed that Airfix have gone for plastic tyres. I was sort of hoping for rubber or vinyl tyres, but no, can't have it all. It's a nice moulding of the cargo compartment cover. I don't know if I'll put that on. I might leave it off and put some ammunition in the back. I've got an AS90 in my cabinet. I know this never supported the AS90, but it's the rule of cool, isn't it? Do what you want. Just the load bed for the back, aluminium. So the aluminium doors on these, if you ever get one in civilian life, you know, local farmer's got one down the road, these are always bent and knackered. If you follow Joe Hughes on YouTube, which I imagine most of you that are this way inclined do, he was pissed off because he went and fetched one, and when they were loaded it damaged the back door. But hey ho. Ooh, lots of suspension bits in there. Yes. All in all, it looks quite good. I am going to build it over the Christmas period. I'm going to try to. I always say that when I'm off work, because I save annual leave up so that I can have more time off at Christmas time, that I'm going to do lots of modelling and I'm going to read my book, and I never do any of it. I just sit rotting in front of the telly. I think I'm on my 5th crate of San Miguel. But no, I'm going to build this, or at least I'm going to start building it. What I normally do is I start building a kit, I get halfway through it and go, yeah, can't be arsed with that. And it sits in my pile of shame for a while. So, whilst I flick through the instructions and enjoy I forgot what it is now, Phonio. I'm going to just a quick check. Make sure there's nothing. Sometimes with Airfix kits, they'll say build it 26, 27, 28, 29. And if you build it in that order, later on, you'll realise, oh, hang on a minute, I needed to go and do this. But you can't because you've already done something there. So I always have a good flick through, have a look, make sure it's all in the right order. That always makes me nervous. Do not glue. What's holding it together then? Spit and prayer. Yes. Hopefully, I mean the Airfix new range comes out on the 16th of Jan. I'm hoping that they're going to announce that there's a Atlas crane version of this. So this is your standard cargo carrying version. There is a Remy version, which has a crane on the back. Is it Remy? Yeah, anyway, there's a version on the back, the crane on the back for self-unloading, that kind of thing. I'm also hoping that because they've done, I know it's not the same underneath, but it's similar, that they've already done the tooling, that they're going to do Saladin and Saracen, because I do quite like those. Salamander, I don't think they're going to bother with, because it's a it's a bit of a niche vehicle. I don't think they get a lot of sales from it. So what I'm going to go and do now is I'm going to go into my shed, fall out with my toolbox, and then enjoy a beer, peace and quiet. I'm going to build some of this. You can like, share, subscribe, or don't.